remember Hillary Clinton handing Jim Jordan his ass in that.
Yes.
Those hearings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many hours did she testify?
11.
11
billion. Yeah. One more.
Yeah, I mean, this is not about politicizing anything. This is about the double standard that I think is so evident to the American people. There were one set of rules for Secretary Clinton, one set of rules for Joe Biden, a different set for President Trump, and anyone with common sense can see that as well.
Okay, so Elie Mystal tweeted,
yeah.
I'm going to be on Ari Melber tonight to talk about how everything's going on with the DOJ is super fine and awesome because the world champion 4D chess player Merrick Garland is helpful and cool and has everything under control, and all the bad guys will be very sorry soon. I feel like that's snark. I can't tell. It's very subtle, but I feel like it might be snark.
Wake up, Elie Mystal is here. The man Elie Mystal is here to settle things once and for all. Settle things once and for all. The man Elie Mystal is here, and better than better call Saul. Better than better call Saul. Elie Mystal.
Hi, Elie. Just when I calm down, you get me all whipped up again.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stephanie. I might have forgotten my sarcasm font on Twitter. I don't know.
Yes,
might have forgot to hit Control S.
I am, as I've mentioned, we're Veruca Salt and Pepper because I am frequently also impatient for justice, and then someone calms me down, and then I get whipped up again. But this is exactly what we were afraid of, right? Is the House Republicans now are going to make, black is white, up is down. It is the false equivalency between these two cases of classified documents. Let's start there. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, the Republicans, the House Republicans are going to beclown themselves for 2 years chasing their own tail. Jim Jordan is nothing more than a sentient Rottweiler, right? Like he's drooling at the mouth, and he's just gonna bark, and he's gonna chase whatever car rolls down his street. I think it's important for the media to not cover the Republican Congress as if it is a legitimate body, right? And I'm not saying that it's illegitimate in terms of they got the most votes. They did, thanks New York State Democrats for screwing that up for everybody.
Thanks for your keen intuition
on
George Santos.
In terms of their vote-getting abilities. Yeah. I'm saying that it's not a serious exercise of governmental power, right? The Republican Congress exists to produce clips for Sean Hannity's broadcast at night, and we should understand them and cover them like that, because nothing that they're doing is, for lack of a better word, serious. Like, nothing that they're doing is serious. It's seriously annoying. It's seriously problematic, but nothing that they're doing is going to be passed. Nothing that they're doing is going to become law. It's just going to be a bunch of sentient Rottweilers barking at each other and basically trying to rip apart Hunter Biden's laptop.
Well, I think it is a problem in the
sense. That's what it is.
Yeah, I hear you. But it is a problem in the sense that what was the tweet this morning, Travis? Every person on the Homeland Security Committee asked for a pardon for trying to overturn the homeland. I mean, how is that not a problem, right? I mean, it's just...
Well, part of this is going to be how the Biden administration reacts to the Republican Congress, right? Now, I think that we have a precedent here where we had a former president, Donald Trump, simply ignore every attempt at congressional oversight, every congressional subpoena. He just simply ignored it, right? So if it's good for the goose, well, why is it not good for the gander, right? Like, if I'm the Biden administration, I ignore literally everything coming out of the Republican Congress, just like Republicans did, just like Trump did the Democratic Congress for 2 years. I mean, and we talked about this, Stephanie, in real time, right? We talked in 2018 and 2019, in 2019 and 2020, when Trump officials were ignoring congressional subpoenas. We said, if this is the standard, that standard needs to be applied when the roles are reversed. Well, now the roles are reversed, and it's just a question of whether or not Democrats have, the gumption, basically, to do exactly what the Republicans did and ignore congressional subpoenas for 2 years. That's how I would roll.
Yeah, I hear you. And by the way, you said it best on Twitter. We've talked about this in the wake of New Mexico. First of all, this guy lost his race by 50 points. Right, or 50%, and
wasn't close.
And right, so he lost and was just arrested for shooting and hiring other people to shoot at multiple local Democratic officials' homes. You said totally on brand for the Republican Party. Actually, they are the party of political violence, and the press needs to start reporting that. This is not just January 6th now, right?
Tell me how I'm wrong.
Yeah,
these people support violent insurrectionists. They support lies and conspiracy theories that lead to more violence. And most importantly, and this is why I think you can say that the Republican Party is the party of political violence, most importantly, they don't call it out and help the rest of us protect ourselves from the political violence, right?
Yeah.
So, even if you want to argue that the Republican Party doesn't actively encourage the violence, I think that's a bad argument. But even if you want it to go that far, the fact is that they don't help us hold the violent people accountable.
Yeah.
And so since they don't help us stop the violence, we can only assume that they are for the violence. And that's their party. That's their brand now. And the scary thing, I think, Stephanie, is that they're comfortable with it, right? It's not, there are lots of things that I will say that will get me flagged and tagged and hated on by Breitbart, on Elon Musk's Twitter, and I'm kind of used to that, right? But when I say the Republican Party stands for political violence, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They know it.
Yeah.
They're okay with it.
Well, and I keep asking, has anyone asked Carrie Lake for her, thoughts on what happened in New Mexico? I mean, this is the same. And you would tweet it. Well, Carrie Lake says if the appeals court doesn't overturn the election, declare her winner, the U.S. will become Venezuela. And you said, not sure the Venezuelan Navy has the right to annex us, but it's worth a shot, I guess.
Right?
But yeah,
Venezuela. I mean, I love the Venezuelans, but their military capabilities, I don't think are such that they can annex the United States. But again, it's part of the Republican fear mongering machine. Carrie Lake, I'm surprised she has time to tweet when she's not so busy fixing her Instagram filters. Really up on that. But look, these are the crazy people that the Republican Party stands for. What's interesting, right, is that these are the crazy people that keep getting rejected.
Yeah.
Right. The voters have come together here and told us in the last election that the thing that they don't want are these crazy conspiracy theorists and election deniers, and yet the Republican Party is still tied to them and in their thrall and promotes them. And we're seeing that throughout the Republican Congress. The people with the most power are the craziest people, right? It is the Jim Jordans, it is the Marjorie Taylor Greens, it is the Lauren Bobberts that have the power in this Congress. It's not Kevin McCarthy. Kevin, as we all saw with his, and look, Stephanie, you know me, I do not like to kink shame. So if you've got a humiliation kink, that is fine for you, and I don't judge. But we saw Kevin McCarthy play out his humiliation kink for an entire week on national television, right?
Yeah.
He's not. How can you go through that and have anybody think that you're actually in charge?
Yeah.
He's not in charge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Unfrozen cavewoman Congresswoman Taylor Greene is in charge.
Sorry. Pardon me. I need to recover. So, George Santos, drag queen or not, is this, will this finally be the bridge too far? Or if they pass their laws banning drag queens, will that apply to him in Congress, or what do you think?
So now, George Santos, I mean, I remember when he, people make fun of him. I remember when he starred in The Birdcage, and he was awesome opposite Nathan Lane. He was great in that movie. Look, now you're getting close to my home because I grew up on Long Island. I went to school I went to a preppy high school in George Santos's district. I know these people.
Right.
I know the Republicans who voted for George Santos. And what I can tell the rest of America about these people is that they don't give a hoot except for tax cuts. That's all they want. They're sitting there on their yachts. If you think about the archetype
Right.
of Anthony Scaramucci, right?
Yeah.
Before he became a meme, what was he? He was a New York Republican who had his issues with Donald Trump, but really wanted those tax cuts, man. just really needed those tax cuts like a crack addict needs a hit, right? Like that. That's how they are, and that's basically his whole district on the North Shore of Long Island are a bunch of Republican-leaning people who don't give a hoot about anybody or anything else other than tax.
This goes to another issue, COVID. They're not just a cult, they're a death cult. You retweeted this the headline, almost twice as many Republicans died from COVID before the midterms than Democrats, according to a Vice.com article. And you just said this is really sad. The GOP are killing their own people. And you said, I get why people are saying the people are to blame, and yeah, you can't free everybody, but I also think that using political power and platform to take advantage of ignorant people is just despicable. The Republican support of vaccine misinformation is a crime against humanity. Thank you.
The thing that got me, so I got hit on both sides for that, right? Because I got one set of people, it's not sad, they deserve it, Darwin forever. And I'm like, man, like, again, I get it, but man, people are dying. Yeah. People are dying on a lie. People are dying for a lie. That's not good.
To own the libs.
Right. Yeah. And so when I say I was sad, I think it's a sad story. But then I had all of these Republican MAGA people telling me, A, I'm not really sad, which, okay, way to know what's in my own brain.
Yeah.
I'm not, and B, that actually COVID's a lie, and so you just wish these people the best of luck in their game of chicken with death, right? Yeah. Like the idea that even tweeting, I am sorry you're dying, and then having these people come back,
how dare you?
No, we're not. We're fine. COVID's a lie.
Listen, I started empathetic where you are, and now we sell "Let's Go Darwin" and "Hurry Up and Die" T-shirts. So I have to tell you, but
that's the right stuff, because these people take it from you, right? And so again, even in that like little thread, right? I kind of went from a true like empathetic place of like I feel bad for these people to by the end I had to resist from responding to some of these people. Go play in traffic then. Like you just like they are so vitriolic in their ignorance that it hardens you, and it takes away that little kind of glint of humanity where you feel sorry for these people. But what I try to remember is that these people are the dupes, right? These people are the marks, and when you have a scheme like that, you don't focus on the marks. You focus on the con men and women who are taking advantage of them, and that's where I try to reserve my real ire. Who I try to reserve my real ire for. It's the politicians and the political leaders in the Republican Party that are taking advantage of these idiots.
Well, I just talked to Dr.
who are truly despicable.
Yeah, I just talked to Dr. Redlener about Lisa Marie Presley being the latest target of the anti-vaxxers. You just said, is it really going to be the case that every time a celebrity dies now the anti-vaxxers spin lies? I'm going to say yes, Elie, in answer to your question. Is it really the upshot of 300 years of vaccine experience that we've eradicated some of the deadliest diseases known to man? Yes, this is the stupid we live in now.
It's amazing, right? Like, I mean, look, celebrities have been dying young forever. Like, live fast and leave a beautiful corpse. Like that's celebrity ethos. Like, look, I mean, like the only rock star from my childhood that's still alive is like Eddie Vedder, right? Like all the rest of them untimely, right? Like that's part of being a celebrity. So they're gonna die young. That's kind of part of the Faustian bargain there. Yeah. The idea that every single person who dies untimely, tragically young is somehow being whatevered by the vaccine. It's just, you can't, there is no logical, like, center, right? There's no logical thread that you can pull on with these people to start to unravel their lies, because they're in too deep. It's like arguing with a 6-year-old, right?
Yeah. By the way, we're super
kid, right?
Right.
He's like he'll say, I want a pig Newton. And you're like, no, it's called a fig Newton. He's like, it's a pig Newton. And like, you can't win.
Right.
You just call them pig Newtons now. Like, you just whatever.
6-year-olds, they are terrorists. But anyway, we're way long, but an appeals court wants to bring back bump stocks beloved by mass shooters. A great piece. We linked to Elie's piece and on that. It's just that's depressing. But anyway, next time. I never have enough time to talk to you. And we love you, Elie Mystal.
Oh, there'll still be mass shootings in the future. Cheers.
Yeah. On that happy note, goodbye. Okay.
Thanks, Elie.
22 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show brought to you by Jen Yusel. We all just got our, by the way, did we mention not just lower unemployment? That would be 3.5%.
Lowest.
Donald Trump gave you